just the last year has been so fulfilling. I've gotten so much help from Cassie from Popcorn in Bed. She's been so amazing to me and like taking me kind of under her wing sometimes. Mary Sherry, she's been so great with like connecting the entire community, and Natalie Gold too. For example, in the gaming industry, I've seen that people are so lonely because they're scared to like connect with others because of their channels. But when I got into reactions, it was like, it seemed like a whole group of friends, everyone like all over. They weren't even scared to like mention each other's names, trying to make content together and just have fun with what they do.
3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Reactorverse podcast, brought to you by Passionfruit, where we interview all your favorite reactors in the reaction space. I'm joined today by another friendly new face in the reaction community that I found recently, all the way from Norway. It is Kamilla from her channel Centane. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah. I've had some people on from different parts of Europe. I've had people on from Denmark and Serbia, Ireland, Scotland, but no one from Norway yet. So I'm happy to sort of put a pin in that parasocial flag there. Yeah. I found your videos a little while ago as I was doing research to find new people in the space, and I found your channel. And what was interesting to me was how you sort of launched your channel in the middle of the pandemic, and then recently sort of launched other channels to sort of spread out your work. And it's a lot going on for you on top of a lot of the other events and sort of work that you do. So I'm really interested in how you sort of manage all of that. So I wanted to sort of get you on here and hear that whole process today.
Wow.
Yeah. So I just want to jump right into it. First things first, I want to, as I always ask with most people, the name of the channel, Centane. What exactly does that mean? Where did it come from? How did you decide on that for the channel?
Okay, so this is not creative at all. So Centane is actually a place in Africa. I found that out 2 years ago, but I've been using it since I was 13. And the reason I found this username was that I used to play a game called Club Penguin, where you had like a username generator and you could click like this dice, and then Centane showed up one time. And it's been my username ever since.
Right. Sometimes that's how it goes. Yeah,
that is how it was.
Yeah. I was unfamiliar with the term, but like now I know it's a place in Africa. Yeah. So we'll start from the beginning of the channel, and even early on before that. One of the first things I noticed, when I was looking at your channel and learning more about it, was you mentioned how film played a really important part of your life growing up, in your relationship with your father, who fortunately passed on now. But that sort of played a big role in how you approach the channel, I think. Having that piece of information in your bio was what really endeared me to your channel at first, and sort of the way you were able to share that with us, the viewers, and what that sort of meant to you. I thought that was really important. Would you be able to tell us exactly how that relationship, impacted you growing up, and what was that like, watching movies with your father?
The thing is, I always remember that he worked a lot. So when he first had a day off or the evening off, he would like sit and watch movies. He had this whole collection of a bunch of DVDs and VHS and all that you could just use. And I remember him watching these type of films that I could not watch at the time because of them being so scary or so bloody. For example, like Alien was the very first one I remember picking up when he passed away. And I looked at it and I was like, yeah, maybe I should be watching that sometime, but I don't know when that would be. So I found his entire collection and I was like, okay, I will go into this journey and find out why movies were so important to him and why he loved it so much. Right. So I was talking about it on my social media because I did live stream before starting my YouTube channel. And someone was like, oh, but you should do reaction videos to it because there's something called fair use and you can do that and share your journey with your friends, family, or people that just want to be part of it as well. But also a good way for me to go back to it and see, oh, this is what I thought.
Right.
And that's just how it started and continued on.
And yeah, well, when you started the channel, were you familiar with the reaction videos before that?
No.
Was it something you had to learn to sort of get into it?
Yeah. So I had a friend that knew how to edit. So he edited my first 2 videos just so we could like learn how to do it. But we were struggling a lot with the copyright.
Right.
So it was very hectic. I didn't know anything about it. He tried to do some research, but in the beginning, we didn't get that much done, I would have said, because we spent so much time. I think it took the span of 3 days in total to finish my first video. And that first video was like 17 minutes. So we had to fix that somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a learning process for a lot of people in those early stages.
Absolutely.
When you got started and sort of exploring, movies for the channel as your sort of the main focus, did you have any sort of strategy in terms of what you wanted to watch? Was it mainly just those movies that you started from your dad's collection and then moved onward from there?
I started because I started this in school, when the pandemic hit in Norway. And then I was like, okay, maybe we can start with 1 movie a week. And then I focused on every Sunday watching something that he liked. But then I started getting more interested into movies myself. So then I started browsing like Netflix and stuff. And I was like, oh, I really want to see this movie. And then I just started doing it myself. And then the further that I created these videos, so many people started requesting or recommending and saying like, oh, have you seen this? How haven't you seen this? And the only thing is that I really didn't like watching movies before. I was more of a book nerd. I think you can see like in the back here.
Right.
So I was like the type of person that hated watching anything on the TV. I was like, I'd much rather read.
Right.
But now I'm like kind of fading away from the reading because now I'm watching everything.
Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. Yeah, my girlfriend's exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Coming from New York, she's very lit savvy over there, and then came here to LA. It's everything. It's all visual. And you mentioned the pandemic and starting there. A lot of channels that I have out on mention how the pandemic was sort of a catalyst for them to start their channel because the lockdowns and being stuck at home. Was that your experience going into it when you started in 2021? I believe you launched it then with your first video.
Yes.
Was it due to lockdowns or was it something you were sort of planning already to get into?
It was actually after lockdown. I think lockdown started in February or March here, and I started my channel in April. But the thing was, I worked full-time in a hospital, so the lockdown wasn't very something for me because I was still living home. I was working full-time, being with patients all day.
Right.
It was just more of a healing process, I guess I can say. That the moment that I was ready to like go into another journey, that is when I started it. It was just a lot of fun seeing that people really found either a connection or feeling less alone throughout the pandemic, having something to watch and something to watch with someone.
Exactly. Yeah.
So instead of just healing for myself, I was also doing good for others. And that was very important to me to continue on.
Yeah. And that's how I always view it too. That's really the value of the reaction space as I see it, is like that connectivity that people have, especially during those times when everyone was so isolated. Do you remember that initial feedback of like what you got from people, like the early comments and sort of traction you got from viewers?
Yeah, there were so many people saying like, that they found joy and feeling less alone in their everyday life, because I didn't know that the pandemic was so big this early on and this like all over the world. So there was people all over the world saying like, oh, we're in lockdown as well. I don't have anyone to talk to. So this has been very nice. Or people just saying that they like to have someone on the screen when they're eating breakfast or having their morning coffee, because then they feel like they have someone to talk to without us necessarily being in the same room.
Right.
And some of the comments made me very emotional because I was like, oh, I'm so grateful that I get to leave my house for work, because so many people cannot do that.
Right. Yeah, at that time, I mean, over here at least, it was very much like that. I knew a lot of people who started their channel as well during the pandemic because like they were getting a little bit of cabin fever trying to figure out what to do creatively. But it seemed like you know, you mentioned having a friend teach you how to edit. Overall, you seem relatively tech savvy, you know, because you do Twitch streams and other stuff like that. Was there a significant learning curve though, starting the channel in terms of like editing, lighting, recording, stuff like that?
Oh yeah, I started I started editing on like iMovie on my iPad. That is not the best way to do it, and I guess everyone can see that now.
Right.
And then switching from an iPad, editing on that one, and getting Premiere Pro was probably the most scary thing I've ever changed into, because of like learning all of the levels of audio and how the light is supposed to be. And then I noticed my camera quality was so bad, but it was so small I couldn't see it on the iPad. So learning all of this has been so difficult.
Yeah,
but there's so many good tutorials out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You transitioned from I think I saw you went from iMovie to Premiere, and then I think did you stay in Premiere or did you move over to Final Cut?
No, I'm still on Premiere.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Premiere is my choice as well. So
yeah,
I understand. Yeah.
I was like, now I've learned something I'm not changing ever again.
That's usually how it goes. Yeah, yeah. I started in Avid Media Composer, and then I did that for a few years, and I got into Premiere, and Premiere was just like so much easier and quicker for me to get through. So I'm very, very, very good at it now.
Have you ever tried DaVinci or Soul?
I've toyed with it. There's one like. When I tried it, there was one little bug in DaVinci that bothered me. It's not a bug; it's just like sort of it's a feature, as they say, literally. When you do cuts or like, you know, sort of any sort of application in the thing, it has an animation of what it does. Like if you make a cut, it'll animate the clip closing or getting smaller. And to me, that is small, so you know, half second was just like too much for me to like deal with. Of like I like the cut just to be like instantaneous, you know. Trying to get through it. The transitional animations were just too much for me to deal with.
No, I totally understand that.
Yeah, I might have to give it a try though. Again, maybe they fixed it.
It's fine. Premiere is better.
Yeah. But going back to, you know, the movies and everything, how did it feel once you had, you know, a few under your belt on the channel, being able to share those with people? Obviously, you said it was a healing process for you internally, going through your dad's collection, but being able to share that outwardly with people as well. Do you recall sort of what that process was like, you know, emotionally, mentally?
I remember when I was reading the comments, it was a little bit much in the beginning, because then it was so much traction to my channel. And I remember trying so hard to like reply to everyone, because some people said that they really valued my replies in the comments, and trying to reply to hundreds of comments every day started becoming very draining and exhausting. And I think that is probably one of the things that was a little bit difficult dealing with mentally at the same time, because one thing is like trying to post the videos and then also going to work, and then you have on top of this trying to stay connected with everyone in the community. And it took me about 1.5 years to figure out that you can't do that. It is not possible, but you can try to do it in other ways, like try to live stream here and there, or have like a community on Discord that can like talk to each other with their plans, so they feel like someone is listening.
Right.
But it was just so much at one point that I was like, okay, guys, we need to make a server. You need to discuss together. I don't know how to do this anymore.
Right. Yeah. It's a lot to balance at first, especially in those early days when, you know, like interaction is such an important part of the growing process. There is a point I think everyone reaches where they're like, okay, I need to sort of manage my time and how much I'm putting into the interaction here, because growth is great, but it's the double-edged sword of like, then it becomes really unsustainable to try and reply and like interact with every single person. But the flexibility of like, you know, the editing software and like everything that you were doing for the channel really lent itself to the fact that you, like I said, you know, managed to eventually start the 2 other channels you have for your gaming channel and for your anime channel. And you have, I think what I can see clearly also a strong history with video games. Can you tell us what sort of your history is with that and that form of entertainment?
Oh, wow. This is like so far behind in time now. I just remember it all started with my brother playing Sega, which was like this old console we had when I was around 4 or 5 years old. And then when he got his first computer, there was not very much of games there yet, but I was so intrigued and interested in everything that he was like learning and trying to play. And then when I was 13, I got my own laptop, started to play Perfect World International, which is like this MMO RPG. And this is also one of the sources where I started learning English, because I speak Norwegian and I speak Spanish at home due to being also part Dominican. Right. So learning English through gaming has been very, very important for me and now my career, but also in a way that I got to speak to so many people from all over the world. And then when I turned 18, I was like, okay, but I really want to try streaming, because I saw other people doing it. And The Last of Us was finally something that I could play, because I was not allowed to play it before I turned 18 by my family.
Right.
And I just fell in love with it, and since then just wanted to learn as much as possible. Back early last year, so 1st of February, I've been signed to several organizations, but now I was signed, and still am, with Apeks, which is a Norwegian esports organization. And it's just a whole team with creative minds, so many like professional players. Like, I found that so wild that people got paid to play video games professionally.
Oh, yeah.
That is crazy to me.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Yeah. And that was like so cool. So I decided to like just go into that journey, started casting and like being a commentator for these games. Since then, I've just been falling more and more in love with video games and working within the field. So that is kind of how that entire journey has been going on.
Right. And I guess what was that transition like, going from, obviously gaming being like a hobby and a passion that you had, to like now a large part of like your career and what that is moving forward for you?
I mean, sometimes it's rough because when you go home from work or from school, because now I'm in university, it's like you go home to like rest or do your hobby, play some video games. But now, as it's my job, I know that I need to like either record it or go live or whatever, because I can't continue on the game without it being recorded.
Right.
So that is something that I found kind of draining sometimes. So I tried to figure out like games that I can play on the side and then have the ones that is like main on stream.
Yeah.
But sometimes I figure out that I enjoy the ones that I'm playing more on content, that I much rather be like playing in bed or at the couch sometimes instead of like sitting at my setup.
Yeah, that can be the reaction or content creator trap of
same with movies. Yeah. I can sit there and be like, oh, I really want to watch this movie in the movies, and then I'm like, oh no, but then I can't film.
Yeah. A lot of people I know like have that issue too, where like they had to pick and choose, what do I watch on my own, what do I watch with my significant other in the movies, so on. Like, and balancing that can be its own form of strategy for that.
Exactly.
But on top of that, you like you said, you were going to university and managing the channels and doing work over the last year and a half, like as you mentioned. It must have been a lot on your plate. How do you manage your time to prevent, being overwhelmed or being burnt out, to keep, pushing on the various avenues that you have to sort of keep track of?
Okay, I am very into my schedule. I have a whole schedule that I try to focus on following every day. And I'm not very ashamed of either asking people on like Fiverr or other editors if they can like help me out if I need it or if I need a break.
Right.
So I've been doing that when it's been too much for me to edit and I just need a break. Then I've been contacting editors to like help me out. But I've been trying to focus on like Mondays and Tuesdays are my full on recording days. And then I try to like edit whenever I have time. And then Wednesday and Thursday, I've always focused on school. There's only school. And then Fridays have been my like typical streaming day and just get some editing done because I post in the weekends.
Right. So
Saturday is usually my schedule for the next week and perhaps maybe record some more. And every Sunday's day off because that's when I'm with my family and like eat family dinner and try to spend some time with friends and stuff. So I'm not very like social going out to parties and stuff. And I think that's fine too.
Yeah.
But it's always nice meeting them again on the Sunday.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that helps the social thing. I've definitely been there for,
Yeah.
my work and stuff. But no, that's great to have. Yeah. A dedicated day, break day, nothing, no work, nothing like that. Something I would definitely, advocate for anyone to try and schedule out
Yeah.
for themselves because it's very important. And mentioning, again, the multiple channels that you have now, what was the, I guess, mindset or strategy behind spreading out your work like that into the game channel and the anime channel?
With the game channel, it kind of just started the way it was. I first created that channel before starting the reaction channel. It was just called Kamilla. It was never meant to be anything content from it.
Right.
So I used to post like vlogs or vacations or something, and then I just deleted those videos and focused just on my gaming content from the stream. And then my stream grew and people came up with the idea of movie reactions, and then I created Centane, which is the same as my stream name. But then I got highly recommended so many like animes and stuff, and I have wonderful friends doing the same. For example, Halo and Kiss does it, and we have Magic Magi does it as well. Oh, there's just so many wonderful people doing it at the same time, and I just saw that it was going so well. People were also saying to me, okay, but you should do this on your main channel. But I was like, what about those that don't like it?
Yeah.
And then they're being like forced to have like this mash up with like movie reactions and live action TV shows and anime. So that's why I decided to like create an entire other channel which is just about animated content.
Right.
So I can have like my regular movies and live action and TV shows and so on over on the main one. Because that's what I started with. So it would never change from that channel.
Yeah, and that's honestly very smart. Just from what I've learned about the space, over the last couple of years doing this, is the YouTube algorithm, incentivizes you to sort of compartmentalize things like that. It does sort of contrast itself when you try to put multiple different types of things on one channel. So diversifying it like that is actually sort of the way to go for a lot of people that are learning now, especially for anime too. Anime can also be very tumultuous with the copyright issues that can pop out for some people. So you don't want that to risk the other content that you have on your channel. And you mentioned, the other channels that Halo and Kiss and Magic Magi. I've seen you sort of express your love for the space and for the community and sort of what it means to be a part of this space now. I guess how has that been over the last couple of years, getting to know more about the space and know more about the people in it as well?
The very first year I wasn't that good at it. I'm not gonna put any cover to that. I was actually very bad at trying to reach out to people, but it was first now this past full year now that I've been like getting into other people's channels, trying to like send DMs, because I've been kind of scared of people thinking that if you go into someone's channel, you're like showing promotion to yourself because people will know who you are. So what I've been doing is like I send them a personal DM or mail, trying to like get to know them personally before going into their channels, commenting or doing whatever like that, to see, hey, is this okay? So now we have like this entire Discord server filled with a lot of the ladies in the reaction genre, should I say, field. And it's just so wonderful seeing so many people supporting each other, giving each other tips, playing some video games together, even if it's like Among Us or Pal World or whatever it is. So just the last year has been so fulfilling, and I've gotten so much help from for example, Cassie from Popcorn in Bed. She's been so amazing to me, and like taking me kind of under her wing sometime. And then same with Mary Sherry. She's been so great with like connecting the entire community, and Natalie Gold too. I just had Cassie on a couple weeks ago. And, she's fantastic. She was fantastic. And Mary, I've worked with a little bit too in the past, and she's also like an amazing person. I've followed very closely on the space as well. And that's great though. As you mentioned, like having that support, having that your peers being able to help you is such an important thing, and that's sort of like one of the big things we advocate for here with Passionfruit, with like this with this show, is just connecting people and just like understanding like you are stronger together, and everyone the rising tide lifts all ships type of mentality, and having that now
with the channel and the support that you've had that with them be able to help you, have you been able to apply any specific, teachings or sort of like tips and tricks to the channel over the last year?
I mean, for the most part, when we are talking about stuff, we're talking about copyright issues, like how to deal with it, how to dispute, how to get in contact with people, and so on. Like, basically everything that is behind the channel, which is like very difficult, especially for me that didn't know anything about it coming into it. And thankfully, I haven't had any like big issue with it on the channel yet, but they've had so many good tips and just help each other out so much when it comes to these types of stuff, especially copyright.
Right.
And then it's always so fun seeing people be like, oh, do you want to film a collab this weekend? I'm gonna watch this movie. Or do you want to be on the stream? We're going to be playing this video game. And it's just so many places in different fields. For example, in the gaming industry, I've seen that people are so lonely because they're scared to like connect with others because of their channels. But when I got into reactions, it was like, it seemed like a whole group of friends, everyone like all over. They weren't even scared to like mention each other's names, trying to make content together and just have fun with what they do.
Totally.
And
Yeah. I
it's so
see the
nice.
difference in that too. Yeah. I think mainly because I think, reactions sort of lend itself to that connectivity because of the content itself, like the movies or
Yeah.
TV shows that people can share. That's like, shared interest among each other. I think that it's a nice bridge to get there with, one another, to be like, hey, I enjoy this movie, or we can, learn about it together. It's something that I think really helps the community, stay strong like that. And for yourself though, recently you had a friend on your video with you, Henrietta, for Hereditary. I guess what was that like, being able to share a reaction with someone in person and having that, difference in dynamic or energy to bounce ideas and comments off each other?
I mean, I've always really wanted to do collabs, but the thing is, I am very shy when it comes to like meeting up with people.
Right.
So I tried to kind of dip my toes into it a little bit. So asking my best friend if she could come over and film this together with me so I could like see how it goes helped a lot. It was an awful movie to choose as my first one, but I mean, not very clever about that one, I guess. But perhaps it was good content. And it seemed like, because both of us couldn't think about anything else, we kind of forgot that we were filming. So I think that it was very good training. Hopefully being able to do more collabs in the future with people in general.
Yeah.
But a horror movie is probably not where I would start for the first time.
Yeah. At least for the first one. You can build up to that.
Yeah, that was heavy.
Yeah. And so you mentioned, potentially wanting to do collabs, in the future and stuff like that. Do you have any other sort of goals or aspirations for the channel that you think you might try to, hit in the next couple years?
Oh, wow. Any goals? I haven't really thought about this.
And that's okay too, sometimes, yeah.
It is always fun seeing the channel grow and more people coming into like servers and getting more friends, because I see so many people in my channel now are calling each other friends and meeting up and having coffees and stuff. And that's so strange to me, seeing that people are able to do that through like watching YouTube videos.
Right.
But I think that I want to focus more on building like a community that is able to talk to each other. I want to have perhaps more people in like, for example, the Discord server that are able to like put down your guard a little bit and be like, okay, but I want to say hi to some people. I want to talk to some people if they don't have anyone to talk to. Because it's been going well now. It's a little bit slow. I've seen that people that have been in the server for like 3-4 months write their first message like last week saying like, I've been here for so long, but I've been a little afraid. And maybe I seem scary, but I hopefully can like make them feel more comfortable in the future. If there's anything I can do with that, I would love to like fix that problem if there is.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Again, that's what we're sort of here for as well, to sort of help bridge those gaps between people.
Yeah.
I was part of a movie trivia game show for several years back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was the editor for the show, and that was a very similar experience where a lot of people, it was a show that brought people from different channels together to do like movie trivia. It was called the Movie Trivia Schmodown. And the value of that was that, you got people from Screen Junkies, or like, at the time, Collider and stuff like that, coming together to compete against one another. But everyone became very close friends through that. And we're all still very close today. And part of that was the competition was like sort of the forefront of like how people were interacting. But beyond that, it was important to reach out and to let one another know, hey, like beyond the work, like we should sort of get to know each other, get to be friends, because that can help us in this whole endeavor. And for you, when you started, the movies and then the anime channel, having to manage those different types of communities, has that been an obstacle for you, or do you feel any sort of similarity between like the anime viewers and the movie viewers, and like being able to sort of interact with them?
I feel like it's quite similar, actually. It hasn't been an issue yet, but again, the anime channel isn't that big right us now, or as big as the main channel. I'm not gonna say it's very small either, but right. It's been very easy to do so when I am not allowed to read the comments, because people are saying, right. Oh, don't read the comments because of spoilers. So everyone is just coming into the Discord server where we have like different rooms, and it's so much easier having everything in one place. Mm-hmm. And thankfully having moderators that can like say, okay, it's safe for you to go into this channel. You can answer some questions and stuff.
Yeah. Do you have any recommendations or sort of like, insight into the best way to manage a sort of Discord community like that and getting that started?
At the very first, try to like create a good Discord server that's like very organized. I think that is very important, that people know that there's different rooms for different topics, mm-hmm. or else it's going to be just a huge mess. And I also think it's very important having people as moderators or staff, so they can like help protect the server, but also are very engaged into the topics themselves. So they like actually want to go into the rooms themselves without feeling like it's some work that they need to do. It's not supposed to be a job. It's supposed to just be something you do because you have fun with it. And when you're already there that often, you can help me out a little bit as well with like spoilers, right. or people not being nice. But all in all, to like try to get that out, I was very bad at this. So I'm trying to be better. And that's like advertise for your server, because that's where you have your community. And if you don't advertise for it, how are people going to know? Like I didn't advertise for it for 2 years.
Yeah.
I started like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So remember to advertise.
Yeah, I understand that. I will say we also have our own Discord now, the Passionfruit Discord, where we're trying to bring in creators and stuff like that to talk to one another. It's slow, but as you said, it's slow starting, but it'll hopefully get there.
Yeah, and that is very important.
Yeah. Over the last couple of years that you've been doing this, I guess how would you say your relationship with film has evolved, going from like you said, just your dad's collection and being a book lover to now having it being such a passion on screen for you?
I mean, before I used to hate movies. I don't know why. It was just because I loved books so much, I think, because I felt like they didn't do the book its justice, I think. But seeing how many good films there are out there, and the actors and just casting in general, and how much work they put into it, I notice now what they call magic when it's about cinematic experience. Mm-hmm. And being able to like sit down and record and like have that as a job, like what? It doesn't even feel like a job. You just sit here and get to watch other people's amazing work. Yeah. So it went from being something that was something I would never see myself doing to something that I fell in love with. And now I'm like, every day after school, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to just sit down and have a nice cup of tea and just watch something nice. Right. Because I don't even notice that I have my camera on.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you just click record and just get rid of it, you forget it's there. So right now it's like a very nice hobby, but the editing, that is a work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
recording itself is not.
Yeah. I've helped people out, over the years with edits and stuff like that. And it's definitely important, I think, for people, if they can, to find an editor, because you want to, maintain that, like you said, that experience and that, of joy of being able to record and not have to look forward to like, okay, now I got to do it again. I got to like sit through it again and piece it together and stuff like that. So I can definitely understand that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you mentioned, it being a hobby for you, as well as, recently your career's taken off with like the hosting events that you're doing and the live shows and charity events that you've been doing. My friend, Ataku May, who I had on the show last year, she just became a doctor. So congrats to her.
Oh, wow.
And that was like, what she was going to university for at the time. She had mentioned that, university was her priority at the time in her life, and the channel was the side thing. And if the work for the university ever got too much and the channel had to take a step back, that's what she was prepared to do. I guess for you, do you have any sort of priorities in your mind of like where the channel lies for you in terms of like, the hosting careers and like the gaming stuff and everything else that you have going on?
I mean, everything that is casting and hosting and anything like commentating and stuff is more of a side thing that I do. So it's more like freelance whenever I have the time, whenever people are reaching out, because it is something that I really enjoy doing, but can't see myself doing full time.
Right.
I am today a certified nursing assistant, which is basically that I get to work at hospitals or at elder homes or so on. So I always have like a plan B to fall back onto whenever I feel like it.
Right.
Right now, I don't really have a plan. I almost said I am going to be working now for a year, taking like a gap year off of PR and marketing, because that's what I am studying now, because I got a job as a talent manager and I really want to say yes to that one. So I will be taking a gap year to like get actual professional experience,
of course,
which will also give me more time to create content and be more active than what I already am, and also manage to like balance my own content and learning it professionally for other people, but also have like time for my family and myself.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think all in all, my goal is to have fun with what I do, not lose my spark. And perhaps if it ever dies out, I have a lovely hospital that will take me in again.
Yeah, good contingencies to have. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I do want to touch upon a few of the main things that we usually talk about with the show with everyone, which are the first one being what has been the most consistent obstacle for you in your time with the channel?
Copyright.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's actually not been that bad with the copyright for my channel until recently, but I've seen that people are having many issues with it now. I think that they're perhaps more tough about it and more strict, maybe. I didn't really struggle with it at all in the beginning of the channel, but then again, all my videos were like under 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And now as I'm trying to like up it to like 42 an hour, then I understand that they're gonna be a little bit picky about it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I think the obstacle there is the editing process and knowing what to cut. Because how do you know what to cut? What do you know is copyrighted? What audio is copyrighted? What part of the movie is? So you have to like go through the like entire movie, editing it the way you usually do it, and then you send it through, and then you get to know what is actually copyrighted.
Yeah.
After several tries.
Yeah, and it's different for every studio. Every studio has their own standards for how they want their stuff cut. Warner Brothers being a notoriously difficult one to get through for a lot of people.
Yeah,
but I noticed that too. Like I think I've noticed a lot of people in the space saying they've been experiencing some stronger issues over the last few months, and I think YouTube usually updates like their detection algorithm every year or two. I think we might just hit like a new wave of that, so that's why people are seeing so many dings now.
Yeah, we have noticed so many times. Like when we're talking about it in different group chats and stuff, people are saying, I can't get this video through. And then we go to bed and try to like edit it in the morning. Then everything is fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so I spent like 15 tries last night and the first try this morning was okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it goes. I recently did a edit for my friend Kyle Katarn for his Dune 2 reaction.
Yeah.
I went through 22 different versions of that one.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah. I think that's the record for me. Yeah. And how would you say you've grown with the channel over the last few years?
Have I grown?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I think I'm more patient That is very important because I noticed that so many people have different opinions about different stuff. And there's also a lot of people that need more explaining than others when you're having like a conversation and so on. And I used to be so impatient. I won't lie about that. I was so impatient at the very beginning, and I could be so furious with not getting like copyright out of the way at first. I would be like, okay, no, my first 2 tries, I'm deleting this video, and then I'll come back to it in like 3 weeks.
Right.
That is not good. So now I've gotten a lot more patient, and also with like talking to the community and not beating myself up every single time I can't post on a regular schedule day, because if you can't do it, then you can't do it. That doesn't mean that you don't want to try to get it out when you're supposed to.
Yeah.
And I think I've grown a little bit like that. But I've also grown in a sense of matter where I was so scared of watching different movies because I was like, oh, that is not my style. I don't think I'm gonna like it. And then I wouldn't watch it. But now it's like, okay, but we're watching it for the channel, and then I can end up loving it.
Yeah.
And then it's a new genre that I love. And I'm like, I never thought I would like cowboys or like Western movies or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, I think war movies has been a nice sort of staple of the channel over the last couple of years. Yeah.
It was like, if you met me like 4 years ago, I would never watch a war movie. And now it's one of the genres that I absolutely adore.
Yeah. Has there been a favorite of yours in amongst those?
I really liked Hacksaw Ridge because of him being like a medic and me being in the field as well. I also really liked Saving Private Ryan because of also them having a medic there and stuff happening and blah, 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 without spoiling in case people are listening here. Yeah. And they're like, I haven't seen this movie.
Right. They should, yeah.
Yeah, you should see it. It's so good. But I've also been liking really much like darker ones now. I felt like before I was so scared of it, but like, for example, Fury is probably the darkest one I've seen, but also the one that really hit my gut. And I really appreciate that one. So it's perhaps maybe top 2 between it and Saving Private Ryan. Yeah.
Hacksaw Ridge is a great one. I really like. I think mainly because it has one of the best jump scares I've seen in it. Just like that when he has that nightmare, and he pops up with the green light. That one gets everyone so good every time.
But why is it there?
Yeah.
Like, for what reason? That is
amongst
so
everything else.
stupid.
It's such a good one in terms of like just like it comes out of nowhere and it really really gets everyone. I watched recently Alex Hefner's reaction to it, and it really got him so bad. I just enjoy seeing like that one at least because it's so well done.
Yeah. Oh my.
Beyond any sort of monetary or financial value, what would you say is the most rewarding aspect of the channel for you?
For me, I find it very much fun that my family can watch my first reaction to things that my dad loved. Because sometimes we've had like these family reunions, and I've never really talked about my channel before like the last couple months. Like, people didn't know about it on my social media. I never posted about it. So it was always like something people didn't know about. And now my family knows about it, and then we can like have a reunion and just meet up, and everyone is like, I saw that you were watching this movie and you had the same thoughts, and them telling me what other people were like experiencing. That's been so rewarding to me. Yeah. Being like, oh, he actually hated this movie, and I'm like, oh, great, why did I watch it? But I really liked it.
Yeah, that's wonderful though. It's wonderful to be able to like find that connection, like, to your father, through them in a way. That's really important, I think, for the value of the channel. And with your family and like sharing the channel with them, as you said, Cassie's mentioned the same thing at first. She said she didn't mention her channel to a lot of people at first until she finally pushed her sister to come on, to Carly to come join her. Is that anything I think do you feel you want to share with your family like more in a way? Is like advertising it to them, saying like, hey, like, look at this, check this out. Like, here's another movie that I had.
Never, but my mom does it a lot. My mom is like the one doing all my marketing, because she's telling everyone like, have you seen this channel? Have you seen her? Oh, you should go check her out. And I'm like, can we not talk about this? This is so awkward. We're at vacation. Can we not? No, put your phone away. I don't want to listen to my own voice.
That's what ones are for, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's great. Yeah, so I do want to get into our final questionnaire of the show that we give to everyone.
Yes.
Just 10 questions down the line for you. The first one being is, what is your favorite TV show of all time?
Oh my lord. Can I only choose one?
You could choose more. You could choose whatever comes to mind. Yeah.
Okay, The Last of Us. It was so well made, and they followed the storyline perfectly, and they even kept so many things from, like, even the Easter eggs from the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So everyone should watch that one, by the way.
Definitely.
I really like The Walking Dead. I think The Walking Dead was the very first TV show I watched. It came out the year I turned 13, and I was terrified. But I was watching it with my brother, so I felt like it was something that we were watching together, and it was so nice watching that. And then I have probably rewatched the show 6 times.
Yeah.
I can't talk about what happens after season 4 because there's nothing after season 4. So I guess I would say those 2 are my favorite TV shows of all time.
Yeah, The Walking Dead is definitely a big part of the reaction space. As I've seen, over the years. Yeah, it was a big, huge catalyst for a lot of people to start their channels, particularly around season 6 and 7. The Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Negan era.
Yeah, but Negan is so good at his as an actor. So I was like, why is it going downhill when we have him?
Yeah.
Oh no, I need to watch so many reactions now. I didn't even think about that people could react to that show.
Oh yeah, that's that was definitely a big one. I think that and Game of Thrones are 2 of the biggest shows that sort of launched the reaction space in general.
Game of Thrones I haven't seen. People are saying it's so violent.
Yeah, it is. It is very violent.
Yeah, I read the first book and I'm like, do I really want to watch this on the screen?
It's good though. Yeah, it's definitely a good show that people I think are happy to revisit now. Now that a few years after it's finished. So if you ever have a chance to watch that, you might see a good return.
I heard it goes downhill the same way The Walking Dead did.
Not as a lot more quickly. It's more the final season I think people have issues with, and that was because it felt overall just a little rushed. Yeah, so it's a really great experience through the first 6 seasons that it has. So yeah, I think people would be
6
happy to watch that. Yeah, but it's HBO, so it's it's like 10 episodes per season, so it's not as long.
So like 22, 25. Okay.
Yeah, the old standards of that. Yeah,
that was before.
Yeah. What is your favorite film of all time? And you can pick more than one if you want. Yeah.
I'm gonna choose one especially that is something I've not reacted to, and that is called Burlesque with Christina Aguilera and Cher.
Yeah.
Loved it so much. Of course, teenage girl watching that. I think my mom was a little bit scared because burlesque dancers and her daughter is 14.
Right.
Other movies, probably. Oh my lord, I really loved Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. I never thought I would like it. I was like, no, that is for nerds, and I became a nerd. I love it, and I have merch, and I have rewatched it maybe 6 times already. Oh.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear. Yeah, another person converted for it.
Yeah, are you kidding?
Yeah.
I'm telling my friends to watch it now so we can talk about it. It's crazy. I really like the Green Mile as well, but it's more of a sad one.
True. LM Reactions, another channel that I know very well. Lola and Milena. Milena has not seen Lord of the Rings. Lola has, and that's a constant thing of Lola trying to get Milena to watch it. And
trying to convince her.
Yeah. I told her, just make it. If you can make it all the way through, I promise the ending. You bow to no one will pay off. It'll hit you.
But I saw that Carly actually ended up watching it as well when Cassie was converting her as well.
Yeah. So
that is very well.
Someone there with you for it.
Taking over the world, slow and steady.
Yeah. I'm going to add another question in here just for you, which would be, what's your favorite book of all time?
Oh my God, wait. No one has asked me this before. Oh, do you have the time?
Yes, please.
Oh, what is my favorite book? But I do have so many because of the different genres.
Yeah, you can pick more than one, as we said, yeah.
Okay, I really like The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which is historical fiction. Mm-hmm. And then The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, which is World War II, about two sisters in Paris and one becoming a spy. So I really like that one as well. And then I'm a huge Stephen King geek. Right. And the thing is, I haven't seen that many Stephen King movies, but I read almost every single book. Yeah. And I collect. I am a collector here.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that you had read The Shining. Did you read The Shining and then you watched Doctor Sleep? Was that the process? Yeah.
But I've already seen The Shining before starting my channel.
Right.
So I read the books, and then I'm very glad that I didn't say that I or didn't do like a reaction to The Shining, because I didn't really like it, and then I got very scared because I was like, okay, but I had too high expectations, because loving the book, and then disliking the movie because the book was so good.
Yeah.
That is not normal, because people don't always read the book before watching the movie. Yeah. So you have like different experiences with it, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of great Stephen King movies I think you could jump into.
Yeah. Like, for example, I have seen it, but the book gave me nightmares, not the movie, where you actually see it. And that is so weird.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, that's part of the, the luxury of reading. It's like, it's your head, doing that to you. It's your imagination that you have the control over.
We did like a little video about it once, where I tried to do like this experiment where I was like reading Misery and then doing a reaction of Misery. And I ended up actually liking both the same, which has never happened before. And then I tried to watch Pet Sematary before reading the book. And Pet Sematary freaked me out. It was so scary. And I was like, I couldn't look when like this Zelda girl is looking all bony and skinny and scary. I'm like, no, I'm not dealing with that. And then I read the book after, started crying because I'm too scared. I was like, how does that work?
Yeah, that part always scared me as a kid too. The sister. Yeah,
the sister. What is up with her?
So our next question is, what stresses you out?
Oh, not having enough time. I feel like I have so many things that I want to do all at the same time, and I know it's not possible. Yeah. So it stresses me out, even though I know it's not possible.
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work, yeah. What helps you relax?
I really like to... we have a bathtub in my house, and I'm so scared of moving from here, because then that means I will lose it, perhaps. So just take a hot bath and have a cup of tea and read a book. That really relaxes me. That's like, no one is talking to me. I don't have my phone there. It's like just possible for me to be all alone with my own imagination for half an hour, maybe an hour. Yeah, that really helps me.
Right, absolutely. What is a hobby or passion outside of TV and film or books that you have?
I used to be very interested in art. I wanted to become an artist and start drawing and painting full time, but I kind of put that off. Another thing that I really like to do is ice skate, because I used to do competitive gymnastics when I was younger, and to do so you have to ice skate.
All right.
So ice skating became like a huge hobby, and since I live in Norway, we have so much snow and ice everywhere, so you can like ice skate wherever you want. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so perhaps those.
Yeah, I've seen the snow one time in my life, because I'm in California, really? So it never snows here.
It doesn't snow in California at all.
Yeah, so like one when I was like 10, like 12 years old, like for some reason it snowed like one day in my hometown, just like randomly.
Then they need to close the schools. That is not normal.
Yeah. So that was the only time it ever snowed, like here, like, and I was able to see it like naturally. Yeah.
Oh, you can take all the snow here. It's too much. We've had snow for the past like 9 months.
Yeah.
It's versus now. It's the snow is gone.
Yeah. LA particularly can't handle it. We can't handle more than a day of rain.
Really?
Everything. Yeah, like here in LA, like, our infrastructure is not built for it. So if we have like 2 days of rain, like the roads shut down, like things get flooded, like it becomes a huge mess.
Oh my. Yeah. But that means you guys have sun all the time. That is so nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. Not when it gets too hot though. Don't want to get too hot. No,
yeah, I understand that. But here we only have sun like 1 or 2 months. 2 if we're lucky, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, see you next year.
Yeah, that's the opposite for us with rain. We get rain. We lost that we had rain for about 2 months this year. Now we're gonna have to wait till next year. What hobby or passion? I'm sorry, that's the one I just asked. What fictional character do you relate to or just care deeply about?
Oh my god. Why are you saying these difficult questions? Oh my. No, how am I supposed to answer that?
Again, it could just be like one you care about, a character that's just like, your favorite type of character that you have in a movie, someone that you really liked watching or even reading from a book.
Oh, Evelyn Hugo. I don't really relate to her that is the main character in The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I don't really relate to her in the same sense, but growing up in Norway and being part Dominican while she was growing up in the US and being from Chile, she was talking about how difficult it was getting a job. Yeah. And I know for my mom, she said that it was very difficult until she changed her name until my dad's last name and just cut her last name out completely. Yeah. Then she started getting jobs. So I was like, okay, so my mom is Evelyn Hugo.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
So I don't relate to it like that, but I'm like, okay. Yeah. But they're the same.
Yeah, but taking that, applying the experience of another person you care about is definitely a large part.
Yeah, and then I have another one I just got to know very recently, but he's become like my emotional support. And that is, this is so silly. It's the Doc from Back to the Future.
Oh, yeah, Doc Brown, yeah.
He's so funny, and he's like, whenever I've been scared to do anything, like I'm very scared of flying. So I could be sitting there and I would be like, okay, but what would Doc do? Yeah. And it's so stupid. I don't know why I'm like that.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah, I think so.
It's a new thing. I've never been like this before, but it's like ever since I saw that movie, I'm like,
Yeah, I'll have to think about that next time. I just took my first plane flight last week. Ever.
Your very first?
Yeah, and
how was it?
I never been flying. It was terrible. It was. I flew on a Spirit Airlines, and that's like here. It's the worst airline you can get.
Oh really?
But it was the flight that we got, and it was like a bad time. So it was a bad first experience. But next time I go on it, I'll think of that. I'll think of what would Doc Brown do if you were here.
Yeah, I have I always do the same every single time I travel. Mm-hmm. And that is, I can't fall asleep because I'm so scared of flying. Yeah. So if I do sit next to someone, this is very awkward, but I always ask if they can hold my hand when we're going up in the air and when we're landing. Yeah. First, they look a little bit weird on the side. They're like, what are you doing? Who are you? That's so creepy. And then they're like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, the landing, taking off, that was my issue too. Luckily I had my girlfriend there with me to help me through it. The hardest part for me was looking out the window and seeing the wing turn. That's what really freaked me out.
Yeah. No, don't look then. Yeah. Just wait.
Yeah, I was at the wrong time. What is your guilty pleasure show or film?
Oh, Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
I watch it all the time, especially when it's fall.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it fits the mood. Yeah.
Exactly. And especially when I just have been studying for a year now. It helps having like a girl that kind of has her life together, except in this later seasons. So if you're having a mental breakdown, don't watch it after season 3. Just now you've been warned. But that is like my guilty pleasure. I absolutely love Gilmore Girls. And same with Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, yeah.
Grey's Anatomy is actually the reason why I became a nursing assistant in the first place.
Really?
Wow. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited. It's going to be just like Grey's Anatomy. Hospitals are not, it's nothing like it.
Yeah.
So I fooled myself, but it's been very lovely anyways.
Yeah.
But I still watch it.
Some good out of it. Yeah. Yeah. I also forgot to mention for the last one, you mentioned the Evelyn Hugo thing, and the dual nationality. Have you seen the movie Selena?
No.
That's one I would really highly recommend because that's about the Selena, the Chicano singer from the 90s.
Yeah, the singer, yeah?
Yeah, and she, and just like they explore a lot of that, the exploration of like being a Mexican American and what that meant to have those dual nationalities and having to walk both worlds in a way. And Edward James Olmos plays her father, and he's really great in that. It's a favorite of my family growing up because I come from a Mexican family as well. So
my
yeah, it was really important to
gosh.
me growing up.
No shot.
Yeah, so I would highly recommend that for you. I think you'd really enjoy that.
Yeah, thank you. I just wrote it down. What?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
now I actually think that Evelyn Hugo is Selena because she has exactly same year she was born and where she's from and everything like that.
Yeah. Yes, I would definitely
Wow,
recommend
you just
checking that one out.
blew my mind.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What?
What show or film gave you your favorite reaction experience with the channel?
Oh, now I need to find it. I think my very first film that I watched wasn't that
For the
Dr.
channel with
Sleep?
Dr. Sleep. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Watching a horror
Maybe.
movie as my very first one.
Yeah.
And then watching The Exorcist right after. And Coraline as well. I don't know what happened. And then I have 2 aliens right after each other. I must have gone
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, well, you say like horror isn't really your bag, but you started with like a strong horror run at first.
That is so messed up. I didn't know that. Am I okay?
I guess it's a good way to
Oh.
tackle it head on.
Yeah, Band of Brothers was my very first like TV show that I reacted to. It
Yeah,
was
it's a great
so
one.
difficult editing that one because of
Oh,
the
sure.
copyright.
Yeah.
But it was also probably the heaviest TV show I've ever seen and experienced. I think
Also
it was
Chernobyl,
so difficult.
as well.
Yeah, that was right after, I think.
Yeah.
No, it was the Pacific and then Chernobyl. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Am I okay?
Yeah. I mean,
Oh.
it's a great crash course into, yes, getting through the emotional side of things for the reactions, you know.
Oh my. Looking at the thumbnails, I was not okay. No, I think starting with, I didn't even know I started with horror movies, but I think I tried to get the ones that I would probably hate the most out of the way first.
Right. That's a good strategy. Yeah.
Yeah, and Band of Brothers, I think I started with it because, it was a friend of mine that actually recommended that to me.
Mhm.
Because I had just seen Saving Private Ryan, I think, before watching that.
Yeah.
And The Schindler's List as well, I think. And then he was like, okay, but you should totally watch this one. It is a little heavy, especially for you being very new to the entire war scene and the history of it. Because at the time when I was watching Band of Brothers, I was on my last year of high school. And I was going to write a paper about World War II. And I ended up just writing a paper about Band of Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
So it formed my channel, but it also gave me an A. So I'm very happy about that.
That's great. That's great
Yeah.
to hear. Good
So I
job.
did good for 2 reasons.
Yeah. What show or film do you wish you could erase from your memory and react to again for the first time on camera?
Only one movie, or can I say like a trilogy?
You could say trilogy. Yeah.
I would say Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Just do
Yeah.
that all over again. Yeah.
Did it all over again. Like feel all of the tears. I still cry at the same points, but first time doing it, it was intense crying. It was like
Yeah.
I need to find something. I need to find some paper. I'm like looking around the room and can't see anything because you're crying so much.
Yeah.
And a TV show that I would like to erase from my mind and then react to again has to be Band of Brothers.
Mhm.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
I also
Do that one
saw
again.
The Pacific and Masters of the Air, but Band of Brothers was my absolute favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely one of the classic ones.
Yeah, it started everything for not only the channel, but also me falling in love with like watching TV shows about this and more like gruesome historical TV shows.
Yeah.
Because I was so scared of watching Chernobyl, and if I never watched Band of Brothers, I probably would never watch it.
That's true. Yeah.
So it kind of like prepared me to saying like, okay, so the world is a messed up place, but we need to like learn about it, kind of, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good progression. Yeah.
Yes.
And able to, like you said, like for your paper, but being able to apply that, to your knowledge of the total text of, the world and stuff like that.
Yes, exactly.
And our final question here is, what advice would you give to your past self if you can go back in time when you first started the channel?
Oh, stop being so scared. It's okay if you do something wrong. There's charm in finding things out on the way, and it's not going to be perfect the first times. And watch stuff you want to watch as well. You don't have to be like watching stuff because you're following a list. If you don't want to follow the list that Monday, you don't have to follow that list on that Monday.
Yeah, change it up. Yeah.
Yeah, go watch something else. Watch something light and fun, or something very depressing because you feel like you need a cry, but you can't because you're watching a comedy that day. No, go watch whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Channel it through. Yeah. The work. Yeah. Yeah. Kamilla, thank you so much for coming on today. It was such a blast to be able to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
It was. Yeah, I agree. Where can we find you online, on YouTube, social media, otherwise?
You can find me on my YouTube and Twitch channel at Centane. I have a little bit different username on other platforms, but it's easier to find me over there because that's where I'm the most active.
Great. You can find us here at Passionfruit. Please like and subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to the Passionfruit newsletter where we give news and updates on content creation every day. Also, please follow us on Patreon, where we have exclusive interviews with other creators and people in the online space as well. We also have our Passionfruit Discord now, which you can join and talk to other creators about like stuff going on in the content creation space. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next episode.